Rick, what are some of the early objectives and goals that you guys hope to accomplish over the next few days?
Well, we want to get off to a good start in training camp. 1 month from tomorrow, we open the season on the road. And with a lot of new guys, we have a lot to get done on the one hand. On the other hand, there's going to be a real effort by the staff to make things simple so that our new guys can get to know each other without a lot of extra confusion, because you're trying to do a lot of different things. So simplicity's big, and we've got to develop chemistry in as quick a period of time as we can.
What do you like best about this new group, Rick?
I like the roster. I love that we have Tyson Chandler back. That's really a huge acquisition for us. And really, all the new guys that we got, they all add something. I think the other thing that's interesting about this roster, Tyson was a guy that always had a great energy, personality, energy. I think we have that with some of our other new guys too. Jameer Nelson's going to be a leader for us. Felton has got some of that personality and some of that toughness. Jefferson's got some of that. And so I just see the team taking on a bit of a different personality than in the last couple of years. And there's going to be at least 7 new guys on the roster, possibly 8 or 9, depending on how it goes, in camp and who wins jobs and so on and so forth. So there's a lot to be determined, and that's exciting.
Can you talk about the level of play of this Southwest Division? Because you guys put 4 teams in this division in the playoffs alone last year, and you guys were fighting it just to be in there to make it.
Yeah, and New Orleans is going to be much improved because they're going to be healthy, number one, and then they've added Ashik and some other guys that are going to help them, and they're a younger team getting more mature and getting more experience. So yeah, it's top to bottom, it's as hard and challenging as any division in all sports, I believe. But that's all right. If you want to be one of those teams in the small handful, it's good to be battling it out and slugging it out. It's gonna be good for you, better for you in the long run.
Chandler Parsons has said he's ready to kind of step out of that Harden, Howard shadow in Houston, but there's still a couple of leading personalities on this team with Dirk and Tyson Chandler. How do you see him kind of fitting into that mix and becoming that kind of guy?
Well, he's a very good all-around player, and he's another guy that brings some personality, some real personality to the team. And if you don't believe me, just ask him. And he can do a lot of different things. He passes it, he shoots it, he drives it, he makes plays. Defensively, he's done a good job in this league to this point, and we believe that he can continue to get better, with getting his strength better, and we got to immerse him in our system and those kinds of things. So, it was a big acquisition for us, on a lot of levels, but it's a very good young player, and we needed to get the roster younger, so he's a big part of this.
You said the emphasis this year would be defense. What would you like to see improved on defense?
Well, we've just got to be better in all areas. We came into last year, if you looked at analytic numbers, the roster on analytics, we were somewhere in the 20s headed into the season. We had a couple of good stretches where we got into the top 10 for 10 or 14 days in a row, but for the most part, we were below average, but we mitigated it because we had really good offense. This year we have to be better than that defensively. On paper, right now, we're better than we were last year, but we got to take it to a higher, more consistent level this year to get where we want to go.
Were you guys asking anything less of Dirk or differently of Dirk this season than you did last year?
Well, that's a good question. I'd like to continue to work his minutes gradually down, if we could. This roster is a strong roster from top to bottom, and just in terms of depth. A lot of multi-positional players, so yeah, we're going to have to find a high energy level with all our guys, and we're going to have to play with a lot of pace. And if we can do that, I think we can find. I think we can find a way to get in from 32 minutes, maybe down to 31 or 30 or maybe 29. Who knows? A lot of it is the spacing and how you play him and how you rest him. He played some bigger minutes late in the year and some critical games, but the important thing was when we got to that point, he was fresh enough where he could absorb it and do it, and so and we're looking big picture again, with him, and Tyson's another guy we want to make sure his minutes are reasonable, and we don't want to overtax anybody too soon.
Can you talk about Brandon Wright at his level? I mean, would you like him to be more of a defender, or would you want him to be more of a scorer when he comes in?
We just want our guys that are, in our younger core guys. He's become one of our younger core guys to keep improving. He grades out very well offensively. Defensively, there are things that he does extremely well. He's worked at his body strength every year, and that's going to help him. So, we just and look at this point. The thing I think is really important is that guys come in shape. In the old days, training camp was you showed up to get in shape during training camp, and that just doesn't work anymore. Guys are too. It just become the culture of preparation has become so meticulous. Guys are eating well, and they're preparing themselves, and they doing stuff over the summers to get better. And so everything is just kind of at a heightened level, and so I feel good about the fact that we've had more guys here this September than any other September since I've been here. A lot of them are new and stuff, but it's been an energetic environment, and that's been a positive. So we got to just keep building on that.
Rick,
Well,
what do you
how much
got?
is it positive that you have Chandler back on your team and won the championship last time he was here?
Say it again.
How big of a positive is to have Tyson Chandler back on your team, knowing that the last time he was here, you won a championship?
Yeah, I've already talked about that. I think it's great that he's back. I mean, he's one of the most popular one-year players in the history of any franchise. In fact, a couple of speaking engagements the last few weeks. I just got up. First thing I said was, Tyson Chandler is back with the Mavericks, and everybody stands up and goes crazy, because he's just such a, he's the kind of guy you can't help but love to watch because of his approach, his enthusiasm, and he's a winner.
Rick, what are you guys going to miss by not having Marion and Vince anymore?
Well, we just got to rework things. Adding Jefferson was a real positive. We were able to do that early on. He's an athletic guy, somewhat in that mold. A little different kind of player, but as good as those guys were, just in terms of their ability level, they were also very experienced. Had played in a lot of playoff games and things like that. And so, we're going to have to do it by committee with Jefferson and Jalen Parsons and Crowder and Aminu and those guys, and we're just going to have to make it work. The team's going to look different. The rotation most likely is going to look different. And this period of training camp and exhibition games, we're going to have to figure out what's going to work best for us. But when you add 7 or 8 new guys, some things are going to look different.
When you have a guy like Parsons and Monte, I think they finished 7th and 8th in minutes played last year. How big of a benefit is that to have 2 guys that you can leave out on the court longer?
Well, it's great, but my hope is to get them more rest. Monte's play. He carried a huge load for us last year. He averaged 38 minutes a game, and he is certainly capable of doing it because he's got a lot of of durability, and he's, in great shape and stuff like that. But if I can get, if we can get him another minute or two of rest, that helps him stay fresher longer during the course of the season.
Along those lines, how much do you need a young guy like Ricky Lito to step up and give you some minutes at the 2?
There'll be a lot of guys competing. Lito's had a great summer. He's really grown up in the last year, and he's an option for us. I mean, he's in that group of, him, Crowder, Jefferson, all those guys can play a lot of different positions. So, we'll look at him, in the exhibition games. We've got to see where he's at and what he can do, but very positive, to this point.
Look, when you have this kind of depth and this many new pieces, what are the challenges for you and your staff as far as figuring out how this best fits together and how that might change on a game-to-game basis?
Well, it's such a new roster that I think we just got to go into it with an open mind and then see what's what. I love the competitiveness of this training camp, and there have been very few training camps in my 30 or 31 years in this league where you look at it on paper and say, wow, we just don't know how this thing's going to shake out in terms of minutes and so on and so forth. We have a group where, at a given position, if you want shooting, you can put Jefferson in there. If you want defense, you may go with Aminu. If you want a guy that's just a high energy guy that's a runner who can do a little bit of everything, Crowder may be the guy. So, but I want to see these guys compete before, trying to give you the answer as to how exactly he's going to go, because I don't know that.
Coach, you mentioned that this team is different. This is a different team. You got a number of guys who do a number of things for this particular team here. But did this team get better? Meaning, can they put forth the same display as the 2011 champions did?
Well, we believe we're better, but today's the first day of officially being here, and tomorrow will be the first day of practice, and we'll have 2 practices tomorrow, and we want to get better each practice. And, we're very process-oriented with things. 2011 is, that's down the road, it's in the past. So I'm not big on revisiting that kind of stuff. This is a new time, and I view each season kind of as a single entity within itself, and so within the confines of between now and April 15th or 16th, we're going to bust our butts to get everybody as good as possible, get as good a record as we can, and we want to be in the playoffs, up there in the playoffs, and we want to give ourselves a chance to be in that small handful of teams.
Coach, can you
Last one, guys.
Can you talk about how basketball analytics and the evolution thereof has changed your
Basketball what?
Basketball analytics and the evolution has changed your coaching techniques or strategies?
Well, there's a lot of information available. There's more all the time. One of the challenges has been to sift through it and see what's most relevant for your team. We've got a strong analytics department now, headed by Roland Beach. He's got 3 guys working with him, and so we'll be stronger manned than we've ever been in that area. And in my meetings with them, we're trying to figure out things that are most pertinent to chart for our success and to monitor and so on. You can get carried away, and you can go overboard with a lot of things with metrics and analytics. But it's been a good tool for us, but it doesn't decide everything.